A woman strides into a bank, anticipating a simple errand. Instead, she's greeted with suspicion, coldness, and disdain. Imagine being told you can't touch your own money. How would you react? Share your thoughts below. The bank's line crawled forward, the hum of tapping keys and soft chatter echoing. Tanya Brooks, 28, adjusted her bag's strap, restless. She wasn't in the mood for delays. Her afternoon was packed, and this was meant to be a quick stop, just a withdrawal before returning to her job. When her turn came, Tanya stepped up, flashing a warm smile. She slid her ID and withdrawal slip across the counter. "I need $4,000 from my savings," she said. The teller, a young woman, barely glanced at her, grabbing the documents. She studied Tanya's ID, her face blank, then typed rapidly. Seconds ticked by. Tanya noticed the teller's brow crease. The woman paused, eyes darting to her screen. She started, hesitating. "I can't process this." Tanya's smile faded. "What do you mean you can't?" The teller shifted uncomfortably. "There's a problem with the request," she said, her tone guarded. "I can't release these funds." Tanya's fingers tightened on the counter's edge. "What problem?" she pressed. The teller glanced back, then waved over a supervisor. A woman in her late 50s, with graying hair pinned tightly. The teller whispered, "She's asking for a large withdrawal." The supervisor's sharp eyes scanned Tanya, then flicked to the screen. Her lips pursed. Tanya felt a knot form in her chest. Something wasn't right here. The supervisor's voice was clipped. "We need to verify some details before approving this." Tanya kept her tone steady. "My ID's right there. It's my account." The supervisor didn't budge. "For security, we require extra steps." Tanya's stomach churned. "Security? What steps?" The older woman straightened. "I'll need to consult a manager. It won't take long." Tanya nodded tightly, stepping aside. She pulled out her phone, trying to stay calm. But the air felt heavy, the teller avoiding her gaze, the supervisor vanishing into an office. Minutes dragged, 5, then 10. Tanya glanced at the counter. The teller murmured to a colleague, their eyes darting her way. Her patience thinned. She'd banked here for years, deposits, bills, no issues. Yet now she felt like an intruder. 15 minutes passed. The supervisor reappeared, her face unreadable. "Miss Brooks," she said coolly, "we can't approve this withdrawal yet." Tanya's pulse spiked. "Why not?" The woman's tone hardened. "Security protocol. We need more time to review your account." Tanya's jaw clenched. This was absurd. "Review my account?" Tanya repeated, voice low. "You have my ID, my account details, everything's there." The supervisor's eyes narrowed. "It's policy." Tanya felt the room shift, customers glancing, whispers spreading. "You're saying I can't get my money because—" "What? It doesn't seem like mine?" The supervisor bristled. "That's not what I said." "It's what you're implying," Tanya shot back. The woman's lips thinned. "We can schedule a meeting with a specialist." Tanya scoffed. A meeting? For her own money? Unbelievable. Tanya's skin prickled with anger. She wanted to snap, to demand answers, but she knew better. A black woman raising her voice here, she'd be out the door in seconds. Taking a deep breath, she grabbed her phone. "Forget it," she said, locking eyes with the supervisor. She turned and marched toward the exit. Outside, she dialed a number, her pulse racing. If they wanted to play games, she had someone who'd shut it down. The phone rang as she stepped into the sunlight. Humiliation burned in Tanya's chest, but anger simmered beneath it. She'd been denied her own money, treated like a fraud. For what? The phone rang twice before a deep voice answered. "Tanya?" She exhaled shakily. "James, I need you." James Carter, 30, a college friend turned financial attorney, specialized in cases like this, banks stonewalling, hiding bias behind policy. "What happened?" he asked, instantly alert. "They wouldn't let me withdraw my money," she said, "acted like I was a criminal." James paused. "Which bank?" "Metro Trust on 5th, Tanya said, gripping her bag. "I've never had this issue before." James's voice tightened. "No explanation? Just vague excuses?" "Exactly." She heard him shift, likely already planning his move. "Stay there, I'll handle it." Tanya nodded, though he couldn't see. James didn't make empty promises. She hung up, heading to her car. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. Years of banking here, no problems, until today. Why? She had a sinking feeling she knew the answer. In her car, Tanya scrolled her phone, searching for similar stories. There were too many. Black customers questioned, denied withdrawals, humiliated in banks meant to serve them. Her stomach twisted. This wasn't just her fight. 20 minutes later, James called back. "I spoke to their corporate office," he said. "They're reviewing it." Tanya's grip on the wheel tightened. "Will they fix this?" "They'd better," he said, "or they'll deal with me." Another call came through. The bank. Tanya stared at the screen, debating, then answered. "Miss Brooks?" It was the supervisor, her tone softer now. "Yes," Tanya said coolly. "I apologize for earlier. We can process your withdrawal now." Tanya's eyes narrowed. "What changed?" A pause. "We verified your account." "Couldn't do that an hour ago?" Tanya asked sharply. The woman stammered. "No need to explain," Tanya cut in. "I'll be there." She hung up, grabbed her bag, and stepped out. Walking back into the bank, she sensed the shift. Tension hung thick, the teller avoiding her gaze entirely. The supervisor stood waiting, hands clasped. "Miss Brooks, we regret—" "Save it," Tanya said, sliding her ID over. "Run the transaction." The woman nodded, signaling the teller. Minutes later, Tanya held the cash. She tucked it into her wallet, then met the supervisor's eyes. "Think twice before you treat another black customer like this." The woman swallowed. "Yes, ma'am." Tanya turned and left, the door swinging shut behind her. Outside, the weight in her chest eased, replaced by a flicker of strength. In her car, Tanya gripped the wheel, the cash heavy in her purse, not from its value, but the fight it took. A simple errand had become a battle she shouldn't have faced. She shook her head. This wasn't just about her. Too many others had endured the same. Her phone buzzed. James. "You okay?" he asked. "Got the money?" she said. He chuckled softly. "They tried calling it a mix-up." Tanya snorted. "Of course." Silence lingered. "This is bigger than you," James added. "I know," Tanya said, staring out her windshield. She'd read the stories. Black customers accused of fraud, denied loans, treated like thieves over their own money. "I want to do something," she said. James didn't hesitate. "I know a civil rights lawyer. I can connect you." Tanya bit her lip. Was she ready for that? It meant time, energy, exposure, but then she remembered standing in that bank, dismissed, humiliated. Others shouldn't have to. "Make the call," she said, her voice firm. She wasn't backing down. The next morning, Tanya sat across from Lauren Hayes, 42, a civil rights attorney with a sharp gaze and a stack of files. "I've seen this too often," Lauren said, sipping cold coffee. "Banks dodge accountability, hiding behind security to target black clients." Tanya nodded, arms crossed. "So what's the plan?" Lauren leaned in. "We expose them. Legal action's a start, but public pressure, media, stories hits harder." Tanya's throat tightened. Going public meant scrutiny, but also change. "I'm in," she said, resolute. 2 weeks later, the headline dropped. Local bank faces racism, claims after blocking black woman's funds. Tanya's phone exploded. Texts from friends, strangers, some supportive, others accusing her of overreacting. Metro Trust issued a statement, denying fault, blaming a misunderstanding. Then stories poured in. "They did this to me," one said. "My cousin, too," another wrote. Tanya read each one, her resolve growing. This wasn't just her fight anymore, it was theirs too. She wasn't alone, and that changed everything. At her kitchen table, Tanya's laptop glowed, her face set with determination. The story had spread, national news now, not just local. Her inbox overflowed, support, shared experiences, reporter requests. One email stood out, Metro Trust's corporate office, requesting a meeting. James called first. "They're nervous," he said. "This is bigger than they expected." Tanya smiled faintly. Good. She wasn't just a customer anymore. She was a voice, and they were listening. The fight was far from over, but she was ready for the next step. In a sleek conference room, Tanya faced a row of executives, their faces tight. The bank president, a man in his 60s with thinning hair, spoke first. "Ms. Brooks, we regret your experience. That's not our standard." Tanya stayed stone-faced. A woman in a navy suit added, "We take these concerns seriously." Tanya waited. Here came the offer. "We'd like to apologize," the woman said, sliding over a document, "and discuss compensation for your trouble." Tanya glanced at James. They thought money would end this. Tanya skimmed the paper. An apology, a payout, all pinned on a miscommunication. She set it down. "I don't want your money," she said. The executives blinked, caught off guard. "I want change, real change." She pulled out a folder, sliding it across. "These are complaints from others like me, treated the same way at your branches." The room went quiet. "I want an audit of your policies, bias training, accountability." The president shifted. "We're reviewing." "No," Tanya said. "I want action." The executives exchanged looks. James leaned forward, his voice calm but firm. "She's not asking." Silence stretched. The woman in the suit exhaled. "We'll need time to consider." "You have a week," Tanya said. The president's brows rose. A week, or the story would grow. More headlines, more pressure. She could see it in their eyes. They knew they were cornered. "We'll be in touch," the president said finally. Tanya nodded, standing. This wasn't just her victory. It was for everyone who'd been silenced. Walking out, Tanya felt lighter, the fire in her chest burning brighter. This wasn't about one withdrawal anymore. It was about justice, about stopping the cycle. She'd faced their excuses, their stalling, and come out stronger. Her phone buzzed. Lauren. "You shook them up," she said. Tanya smiled. Good. The bank had a week to act, or she'd push harder. For now, she'd won a round, but the bigger fight loomed, and she was ready. Lauren's eyes gleamed. Going public means noise, media, social media, real pressure. People need to hear this. Tanya hesitated. Sharing her story meant attention, maybe backlash. Some would call her a troublemaker, defend the bank, downplay the issue. But others would listen, people like her who'd felt dismissed, erased. It could spark change. Her resolve hardened. "Let's do it," she said, voice steady. Lauren nodded, already planning. "I'll set up interviews, connect with activists. This won't stay quiet." Tanya exhaled. She was all in now. 2 weeks later, the story broke wide. Metro Trust accused of discrimination after blocking black women's access. Tanya's phone buzzed nonstop. Friends, strangers, allies, critics. The bank's statement claimed regret for a clerical error. Then the floodgates opened. Comments rolled in. They froze my account, too. Happened to my sister. Tanya scrolled through each one, her heart heavy but fierce. This wasn't just her fight, it was a chorus now. People were speaking up, refusing to stay silent, and it was only the beginning. Tanya sat at her desk, laptop open, the screen's glow reflecting her focus. The article had gone viral. CNN, MSNBC, even international outlets. Her inbox brimmed with messages, support, shared stories, interview requests. One stood out. Metro Trust's CEO, proposing a dialogue. James called, voice sharp. They're scrambling. This is bigger than they can handle. Tanya nodded to herself. They weren't just worried about PR. They were scared of what came next. She wasn't just a name anymore. She was a movement. In Metro Trust's glossy boardroom, Tanya faced a lineup of executives, their postures stiff. The CEO, a man in his late 50s with slicked-back hair, spoke first. "Ms. Brooks, we're sorry for your experience. That's not who we are." Tanya's expression stayed cold. A woman in a red blazer chimed in. "We value your feedback." Tanya waited for the pitch. "We offer our deepest apologies," the woman said, pushing forward a folder, "and compensation for your inconvenience." There it was, their attempt to buy her silence. Tanya glanced at the folder. Promises of money, a vague apology, all neatly packaged. She pushed it back. "I'm not here for a payout," she said. Surprise flickered across their faces. "I want systemic change." She slid her own file forward. "These are stories. Dozens of customers treated like I was. You can't keep hiding behind errors." The CEO shifted uncomfortably. "We're reviewing our processes." "Not enough," Tanya said. James's eyes gleamed beside her. They weren't negotiating, they were demanding. Tanya leaned forward. "I want an independent audit of your security rules. I want bias training that sticks, not a checkbox. I want a board to enforce accountability." The executives went silent, glances darting. The woman in the blazer spoke slowly. "That's a significant request." "It's not a request," James cut in, voice like steel. Tanya held the CEO's gaze. "You have 7 days, or this story grows louder." She saw it in their eyes. They knew she meant it. The room felt electric with tension. The CEO cleared his throat. "We'll need to discuss internally. 1 week," Tanya repeated, standing. The executives didn't argue. They knew the headlines would bury them if they stalled. James gave her a nod as they left. Outside, Tanya's pulse raced, but her steps were sure. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about every person who'd been humiliated, denied, ignored. She'd lit a spark, and it was spreading. Her phone buzzed, Lauren again. "They're rattled," she said. Tanya smirked. "They should be." 7 days later, Metro Trust's statement hit the wires. No more deflections. They announced an external audit, mandatory bias training, even a new oversight panel. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. Tanya read it at her kitchen table, her coffee cold. Her phone lit up. James. "You see it?" he asked. "Yeah," she said, smiling faintly. "We did that." "Not we," he said. "You." Tanya shook her head. It was everyone. The voices, the stories. They'd pushed, and the bank had bent. Tanya leaned back, the fight still alive in her. The changes were a start, but she wasn't naive. Real justice took time. Still, she'd made them listen. Her phone buzzed again. Lauren forwarding a new article. Bank reform sparked by one woman's stand. Tanya's smile grew. She hadn't just won a battle. She'd started a wave. For every person who'd felt powerless in a bank's lobby, this was for them. And she wasn't done yet. Tanya Brooks stepped into Metro Trust expecting a quick stop, but walked out carrying a fight bigger than herself. A fight that burned through her veins and reshaped her world. Her story, a battle against a bank's veiled prejudice, offers two searing lessons that hit hard in the American pulse. First, standing up to injustice, even when it's cloaked in policy, can spark change. Tanya, 28, faced humiliation when denied her $4,000, her own money, treated like a stranger in a place she'd trusted for years. The supervisor's clipped words, security protocol, stung like a slap, but Tanya didn't fold. She called James Carter, a lawyer with fire in his veins, and pushed back. Her defiance, a single phone call from a car parked on 5th Street, forced Metro Trust to bend, delivering her cash and later policy reforms. One voice, steady and unyielding, cracked open a system that thrives on silence. Second, real power lies in collective action. Tanya's story didn't end with her victory. It grew when others shared their own. A grandmother questioned over a check. A student shamed for a deposit. Her kitchen table, lit by a laptop's glow, became a war room as messages flooded in, each one a spark in a growing blaze. By going public, Tanya turned her pain into a movement, forcing Metro Trust to face an external audit and bias training. In America, where dollars measure trust and fairness often falters, her fight reminds us that courage isn't loud. It's relentless. One woman's stand, fueled by anger and anchored by resolve, can shift the ground beneath giants. Tanya's battle wasn't just for $4,000, it was for every soul who's felt erased, proving that together we rewrite the rules. What would you do if a bank denied you your own money, like Tanya faced at Metro Trust? Share your thoughts below. Let's spark a conversation about standing up to injustice. If her fight inspired you, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more stories that empower and uplift. Together, we'll uncover lessons that drive real change. Join us for more value every week.